Hi, guys. Welcome to the Natasha Stuart podcast. I was actually listening to an episode of The Daily, and they did this very thing. And so I thought this would be a great way for me to end the year with my podcast. And so here is some good news for 2020.
Hello, my name's Marcelli, and there's been a few great things that happened to me this year. So for the most part, my family's been able to stay healthy and safe, and my granddad was able to beat COVID-19 over the summer. My cousin gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy in March, which was one of the peaks of the pandemic. And we even got to add a few little fur babies to our dog pack. So there's been a few rainbows throughout these cloudy skies. I'm hoping everyone can stay safe for as long as this takes.
This is Ben, and I am thankful for 2020 for two reasons. The first reason is that 2020 is the year that my wife became pregnant with our first child, which is so magical and exciting and life-changing, and we could not be happier. And the second reason I'm proud of 2020 is it's the year that Tashi made this really dope podcast, and I'm really proud of her. So, those two things, but, if I had to choose, probably especially the podcast.
I'm thankful that 2020 has taught me how to do so much with so little.
Hi, I'm Jo. The best thing that happened to me in 2020 was finding myself.
Hi, this is Arbany Nola, and my favorite thing about 2020 was having more time to work on sewing projects.
Hi, my name is Laura, and something good that happened to me in 2020 was that I directed, for the first time in a really long time, I directed a commercial for an organization called Teach for America, and I put my nephew in it, and my big brother brought my family in to star in the video, and you can watch it on YouTube. And that was really exciting, and it was a new experience, and it was scary and daunting, and I've been working on commercials for a long time, but I'd never directed. So I put on my mask, and I got out there, and I did the thing.
Hey, Rox.
Hey, Tash. So a good thing that happened to me in 2020, it's been a rough year, but my dad got COVID and was in the hospital for over a month, got discharged and had post-COVID complications. But I'm just grateful to have him alive now. And I think it's just a lot of things that you go through as a family that people don't get to see, but it's rough. And I'm just grateful, especially at this time of year. It just makes you realize how much family means and how much support you have from everyone. And I'm just grateful to be able to have that, and just thankful to have my dad alive more than anything, because I know that some people don't have their families with them now.
The year for 2020 for most have been a time of economic collapse and uncertainty. However, for me, it was the opposite. I believe God's grace is superior to our environmental circumstances, and I have seen this from the start of the year. But more so, I was surrounded by the love of the wonderful people of the South during the early part of the pandemic. When food ran scarce in urban areas, in Hopkins, we had fish for $3 a pound. I saw bananas in the South being given away when rice was scarcity in the city. I saw the churches giving away food and clothing to frontline workers and members of the community. The love in the South was evident, but I can say that God's mercy was even more.
Hi, Hi, I'm Diamne. For context, I volunteer with the Humane Society here in Belize. In October, we got a report of 12 stray animals, 5 dogs, and 7 cats, all being fed by one woman. This rescue felt like an impossible, daunting task. Because of COVID, everything had to be done online. I posted one photo of the whole pack eating rice off the concrete floor, asking for donations. 4 hours later, we hit our fundraising goal of 1,500 Belize, and by the following day surpassed it. I wasn't expecting to have such an emotional reaction, but I sat there and cried out of awe and gratitude. COVID-19 had rocked us so hard that we were expected to run out of funds by the end of 2020. And in a time where so many of us were financially affected, people still chose to trust us and donate to us. I'm really happy to report that all the animals were rescued and are in warm, loving homes.
Hi, I'm Lisa Foreman. The best thing that happened to me in 2020 was when my bosses from Blue Water Grill, Red Ginger, the Phoenix Resort, and Wine Divine asked me to join in their efforts to run a food program from donations. We gathered together and got volunteers to run 50 hot plates to our needy in the island. We are a tourism destination, so we got hit the hardest with tourism. Upon seeing the need, we went to 50, 100, now 200 hot plates. We also included grocery bag deliveries. We started with 50, we're currently at 100. From early May, we started this venture, and we have received tremendous support from our donors that enables us to feed the needy. That is the best feeling when you give a needy person and receive all their blessings. Thank you.
My name is Jasna Sweta, and in 2020, I was able to do what brings me joy. It always makes me happy to give of my time, resources, and love. And now God has given me the opportunity to do it in a larger scale.
Hey yo, hello Viv. Everybody know me as Tommy Goff. 3 years ago, I started my venture of building my own house. Never had a high-paying job or nothing like that, but I saved every money I could. I stopped party, I stopped Gucci, everything, you know. And 2020, 3 years later, I got my own house. No mortgage, no nothing. So to everybody out there, just save up, man. Got your priorities straight, and who knows?
Hi, my name is Aina Marin, owner of Blue by Aina Marin, and big up Natasha Stuart. Make sure you watch the Natasha Stuart podcast, the best podcast of Belize. And I think the best thing that has happened to me this year is my pastry business, Blue by Aina Marin. We started off in April, and from there people have supported and never stopped supporting, and I really appreciate that, and I want to thank everybody for that. Because of Belizeans, I get to do what I love, and thank you all for that.
Hey guys, my name is Madeline, and something good that happened to me this year was starting my business and receiving so much support from you guys. Thanks so much for supporting Baby Earth. And another good thing that happened to me this year was I got engaged, so I'm so excited for 2021.
Hi, my name is Monica.
And I'm Dora.
And something good that happened to us in 2020 is...
we started Pop and Sip.
I'm Zamia, and I learned how to write my name. Gamir.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm from Belize City. I am super grateful this year for being able to launch my home bakery, The Bake House. Even though in a time of haphazardness and a crazy year that we all have had, I took it as an opportunity to finally launch this business. I say finally because it's been a dream in the making for as long as I can remember. So even though COVID brought its difficulties, it actually gave me the strength to open my home bakery. And for everyone who has done business with me, who is following my page, who are customers, or who are just giving any words of encouragement, thank you so much. You're definitely helping me along this process to keep going and keep bringing back better service, better products, etc. And for all those watching, follow us at thebakehouse.bz on Instagram.
My best experience in 2020 is experiencing one of the most challenging years from a management perspective during my first year after graduation. You can't pay for that kind of experience.
Hey guys, my name is Jessica Rosado. I know a lot has happened in 2020, but something that I am dearly grateful for is that I graduated. I got my bachelor's degree in international business from Galen University. It took me a long while to get it, from having to travel back and forth from here, Belize City, to Cayo, from having to do online classes, from having to move to Kaya for a year. It has been a journey. It has been a struggle, but I am truly grateful. This is a blessing to me. It's over, and I could not be more proud of myself.
I get a job to teach English and moved to Taiwan. They pay good. I like my job, and there were no cases here for like 8 months.
Recording.
My name is Noel Kal. I am from Orange Walk, and for 2020, I am pursuing a master's degree in neuroscience in France. And despite the roadblocks that COVID presented this year, I'm able to successfully progress in my thesis, and I'm gonna finish it in 2021. And also, despite COVID, December and the holidays has been a joy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicky, and I was asked to share something good that happened to me during this year, despite all the difficulties that we went through. I did have some good moments. This year, I decided to do something for myself. We had so much time in our hands. I got in consultation with a nutritionist from Mexico, and she assisted me in a diet plan, and I managed to do some workouts, and I lost 32 pounds. So I can definitely say that that was one of the best things that happened to me this year. But I also did have many other blessings, like my family, my husband, and my friends. Well, let's all hope that 2021 is a better year for all of us.
Hi, my name is Michaela, and something good that happened to me in 2020, or positive, is that I saw a therapist for the first time since high school and continued to see them the entire year, and really just used 2020 to focus on my mental health and mindfulness, and started to finally heal a lot of traumas that I needed to heal, and really just started that journey and felt like I actually made a lot of progress with it.
Hi, I'm Renisha, and I think one thing I've learned from this year is definitely having to adapt, and rather quickly. I mean, this has been a year that everyone has been on their feet, and we've been navigating through trenches that have never been gone through before. It all has to do with our perception and our attitude towards warranted time to think about everything that we're doing and everything that we want to do, and also the ability to realize that, look, I can only go as fast as life.
Where the Guan Natasha Stuart podcast listeners.
But I don't know this is a Caribbean Steve.
And Jeremy Belize from 2 Teaspoons of Belize.
So the big question is, what good happened to we for this 2020? One, we get to network with a lot of people through the brand 2 Teaspoons of Belize.
Which is great. Two, we make a lot of people laugh in this pandemic.
Which is magnificent. And three, we managed to reduce the cheating rate in a Belize because now people not got time to go cheat. They stay home and listen to 2 Teaspoons of Belize.
Which is historical. A lot of things happened to 2 Teaspoons of Belize in 2020. But we are left with the tree.
Yeah, because we have to reduce the risk of taking over the Natasha Stuart podcast.
Before we left, you don't know we have to say the podcast pledge.
Be sure to subscribe to the Natasha Stuart podcast on all podcasting platforms.
But big up to the woman behind the Natasha Stuart podcast, which is Natasha herself. Everybody know that. You got support all the way for a penny.
You get the sense? The foreign land? Big up yourself again, Natasha. And thanks for featuring us on this special episode of your podcast.
You don't know where we are, we say. 2 Belizeans on a journey. We out.
Hey, Jolie here in Placencia Village, and in 2020, I took on a 30-day swim challenge. I just proclaimed it on Facebook one day. Hey, I'm doing this 30-day swim challenge, day one. And I posted every day, got people rallying behind me. It was so fun, and I looked forward to it. Every day, I actually looked forward to it, and I kept with it. And this says a lot for me as somebody who tends to break off commitments and is very notoriously flaky. But I did it. I actually finished the damn thing. And I love swimming. It's something that I used to do and I had neglected it, and it was a perfect activity, after when you're stuck somewhere and you can't really find adventure anywhere else. And there were 2 hurricanes happening in the region during my swim from October to November, so the weather conditions weren't always favorable. Some days were calm and some days were rough. A lot like life. A lot like 2020. So it's a great way to build resilience. And if you can swim, go for it.
Nothing that we can't do, and I'll be alright.
Hey, how's it going? This is K-Bong, and one of my favorite memories of 2020 is just getting to spend that quality time with family or your roommates or whoever you live with. We had to kind of stay indoors, getting to know them a little bit more. Maybe you're playing some board games. Maybe you're learning a new skill, learning how to cook, but spending that quality time with someone that you love, whether it's your partner, roommates, friends, and family, or it's a dog. But being close to the ones we love is one of my favorite things of 2020.
With you.
Hi, my name is Mary. My positive for 2020 was definitely getting my puppy. She has taught me to be a lot more empathetic. She taught me to let go a lot of inhibitions that I had. And actually, I have been a lot more productive and creative because I have had to get up out of bed and take care of her. And in doing so, I have more hours in the day. I could have been wallowing and been all depressed during these months, but instead I have this cute little being that keeps me on my toes, and she just makes life so much better. And I feel like she has essentially saved my mental health.
Hi, Chef Sean Quillen here, and I was asked what good came out of 2020. Well, a new respect for oxygen, family, and even employment, things that I may have took for granted. I got to slow down. I was running on all cylinders, missing important birthdays, holidays, and family time. The lockdown made me focus more on health and less on alcohol. But the best thing that come out of 2020 for me is that I found Canela, my dog. I remember it very clearly, It was March 1st, coming home from catering a wedding in Keycacher. right at the Belize City Water Taxi Terminal. Just when I thought that I saved this little doggy, in the end, she was the one to save me. As she was and continued to be my loyal friend during the lockdown and heading into 2021. Have a happy new year, everyone.
Hi, my name is Emer. Something good that happened to me in the year 2020 is that I got to spend a whole month with my family. That is something that I will always treasure because I managed to see them every single day of the month of August. I find that to be very special because my siblings are growing and because I work in San Pedro, I rarely get time with them. So to me, this is the greatest blessing for the year 2020.
Hello, Natasha. So what great happened to me in 2020? I'd say one big thing was getting a new job at a firm in the city that I wanted to move to. I accomplished that during COVID, which was a pretty depressing time for many of us, hard time. But I figured, I was in control of my situation and I would put together a plan and do anything possible to make it happen. And that's one thing that I did. So I'm grateful for that. That's another thing I learned through all this was to be grateful for what you have and who you have in your life, because it can all go away so quickly. I grew closer with one of my sisters. I grew up close with all my sisters, but one in particular this year. I also realized self-care is very important through meditation, enjoying my time, my personal time, spending it with myself or other people that I care and love for, and who also reciprocate that care and love back. So yeah, that's what I'm grateful for, and some good things that happened during this crazy 2020 year.
Hey, this is Brendan from Santa Monica, California. And something good that happened to me in 2020 was I got to go on 2 kind of life-changing trips. And one was to the Channel Islands on a 7-day sailing trip with my brother. And we got to bond, and I learned a lot about sailing, which was great. And the other trip, I got to spend 2 weeks in Belize and met a lot of cool people and lifelong friends. So it was a great way to end the year. And those were some great things that happened.
Take it easy, no need to worry. Oh, the road is
Hi, my name is Eleonora. One thing that went amazing for me this year in 2020 is basically working from home and spending way more time with my kids. I have gotten to know them more. We've had a lot of fun. Just great communication, and it's been a blast working from home and spending time with my kids. So that has been amazing for me in 2020.
My name is Noah, and something positive that happened in 2020 was our family holiday was cancelled, so we got to go and discover the western parts of New South Wales into the desert.
Hello Tashi, this is Nayeli Brancacho, and a thing that happened in 2020 that was really nice is that actually during the pandemic, in the first lockdown, I actually realized that I could have more honest relationships with people, even like with customers and people that I generally didn't have much time to spend except then talking about work. And during that period, it was really beautiful because I felt that everyone was genuinely asking, how are you doing? How are you coping? How are you? And we tend to give that for granted. We don't really ask people how they are truly doing. And it brought a lot of vulnerability. I got to know my neighbors, even though we were walking far from everyone else. Like I could see that people were looking at each other's eyes, and it just felt more like a community that really cared for each other. I find it really beautiful, and I hope that it remains. That the caring for people continues being genuine in the years ahead as well.
Hey Tashi, Alan, Reva, and 2020, wow, so much happened. I guess one of the big things that happened was that I found a lot more time in my life this year from having less work. And one of the huge positives that came out of that was that I realized and I rediscovered that if I place my attention and my focus on the practices that help me create more peace inside me, then I have more calmness and I have more clarity to choose how I respond when the world around me continues to change, as it has done all year, and I guess it will do all next year, and it will do for life in different ways. So yeah, having time and space was a huge thing this year, and what it enabled me to rediscover within myself.
Hey Tash, it's me, your stepmom, Carrie. I just wanted to come on here and tell you about the good things that came out of 2020 for me. Although there were a lot of heartbreaking things that happened in my life, and I know everyone else's, there were so many good things that came out. And the biggest overwhelming feeling and just experiences that I brought out is that I see the people in my life just showing up for each other. I'm so overwhelmed and just grateful to see and be witness to all of these people that just continue to show up for each other, whether it's through donating their time, their money, their experience, their ear. I just feel like it has been the year that really showed that to me. I've always known that I'm lucky and that I have a lot of incredible people in my life. But this year just really, really drove it home. And I just feel like that really has been, I don't know, my biggest takeaway. And, you know, whether it was when I was in Utah and people showed up just all the time. Once when my brother died, when my baby niece was born, everyone was just there for each other. And when I got back home to Belize, how my friends, I mean, they continue to show up for each other and for me and all of us just every day, whether they were empty or not, they still were able to give. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you and so proud of you for doing something in a year that was really tough. You could have just sat back and just let it go by, but you motivated yourself and inspired a lot of people around you with your podcast and your Instagram lives. And I'm really proud of you. So that is my little tidbit. Love you.
Hey, Natasha, it's Brent here from the Brent's 2 Cents podcast. Now, one of the best things that happened to me in 2020 was starting my own podcast. Not only because it's so much fun, but because I didn't expect that so many people would enjoy listening to a weekly podcast that I would put out. And not only that, but to become part of this Belizean podcast movement that we've got going here, as I think you called it, the Belizean Pod Squad. You've got the Natasha Stuart podcast. You've got Two Teaspoons of Belize. You've got Belize Travel Cast. You've got Change the Narrative. You've got the Gray Spaces. Renisha Gentle just came out with a new podcast. And I know, Dominique, if you're listening, you said you're going to come up with a podcast in January. So I'm waiting to hear that come out. But it's really been remarkable to hear so many different voices all putting out really good podcasts. So thank you for putting out the Natasha Stewart podcast. Thank you for giving everyone an opportunity to talk about the good things that happened in 2020. I want to wish you and everyone listening a very happy 2021.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for sharing your good news. I actually had a really good time editing that. And now it's really late at night when I'm trying to do my own one, but I'm going to try to gather my thoughts here as I'm like super tired. But I just want to say that this year has just been such a huge year. I mean, you guys were all there. But I mean, I just really think about the self discovery portion of this year and how much of that we all had to do and how much we were all challenged in such big ways and how much change there was, how much adapting there was, how much limitations and frustrations and sadness and just so much ended up happening this year. And something good that did end up happening to me in all of that is, and where I am now, is just that I'm proud of myself. That's the good thing that happened to me this year. That sentence alone has always been super difficult for me to say no matter what I achieve. I'm definitely like my toughest critic sometimes, like, wow. And I'm just someone who actually has a lot of self doubt and sometimes a very defeatist attitude. And you may not know this from the outside looking in because of the decisions that I make, like doing a podcast or something like that. Um, and it's just very confusing because the decisions I make versus my level of self-confidence it's just very a strange thing. And somehow I go from not believing in myself at all or believing in something so, you know, almost, I don't know, just something out there. And then the way that my mind sort of will talk me out of things, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, but it's something that I really, really go to town on sometimes, and just my level of I can't do this and the reasons I can't, and what will people think, and all of these things. But, you know, all of those things are lessening in importance more and more as life shows us what truly is important. And I'm really like glad that I'm overcoming that side of things for myself. And so my big thing is being able to say that I'm proud of myself, being able I'm proud of being able to be proud of myself and for going beyond the voices in my head and for stepping up and taking opportunities and for showing up for myself and for being kind to myself and for not beating myself up as much as I typically do. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is that, like a lot of you guys said, and a lot of you guys feel, I'm just very happy and grateful for my family and friends. My family was very fun to be stuck with. And I think that in this time, we truly saw who a lot of people were. And I was just further validated, like my stepmom said, that I have such beautiful people in my life with such great big hearts. And I was able to grow closer to my family and spend time that I otherwise never would have, nowhere near that amount of time. And life being fragile as it was already, I'm just glad we had this time together and that we have these memories and we got to learn and grow and adapt and go through this together. And to my friends, geez, that I can always, always, always count on to listen and to cheer each other up and to cheer each other on. I am very grateful for all of you guys. And despite the current situation of everything right now, too, I am very proud of my little Belize and very lucky that this is where I got to be in this whole thing. I could have been somewhere in the cold or somewhere where I don't get to have as much fresh air or the scene or, so many things. And I'm just really glad that this is where I got to be. And there is nowhere else that I would have rather been. And I'm just such a proud Belizean. And also, this year, I was able to meet so many great new people. And starting at the top of the year, when I met someone who ended up being on the other side of the phone for a big portion of this experience, and had had he not been there, I don't think that I would have taken responsibility for my life the way that I did when I did. I might have eventually because I always wanted to, but I just don't think that it would have happened when it did. And he was just a great motivator just by simply being himself as well. And I think that that's kind of a big lesson for all of us is just leading by example. And then I also don't think I would have started the podcast without him. So I'm really grateful that our paths crossed and that we had each other in this time, because I probably wouldn't be talking to you if that hadn't happened. And with that said, I am really grateful for everyone who took part in this podcast with me, all of my guests from my Instagram lives days. Like, I'm acting like that was years ago, but seriously, like since my Instagram lives, everybody who came on with on this with me and took the chance on me to help share your stories, and also for you to come out of your comfort zones, because it's really difficult for a lot of people to talk about themselves and these things, but we did it for the sake of encouraging and inspiring, and in what is and will continue to be for a while a very difficult time. And it's very hard to find inspiration. And I'm really grateful for all of my guests, and nobody has said no to me yet, and I'm really really hoping that that doesn't happen. But yes, I'm just really really grateful for my guests, and I'm really really grateful for all the people who have ever listened to any single episode of this, all of the episodes, like everyone who has listened, who has reached out, who has commented on anything, who has liked anything, who has encouraged me, who has sent a private message of encouragement. Some people really went above and beyond with the messages you guys sent me, and you guys have no idea how much those things mean to me. As I said before, I have a lot of inward battles that I kind of go through sometimes, and your words of encouragement mean so much to me, and all of your advice and everything. I'm really, really grateful. So thank you all very, very, very much for being a part of this with me. Shout out to everybody who started a podcast this year. I love being a part of the pod squad. I'm not putting this on YouTube because I really want to encourage people to be in the pod cast world, because there's just so much awesome stuff to gain from being in here. And then I also want to say that we should all be proud of ourselves for simply making it this far. This year has not been easy at all. If you spend the whole year on TikTok, good for you. I'm pretty sure your TikToks are awesome by now, and that's something I consider that something to be proud of. So good on you. Whatever you did to just make it through, be proud of yourself. I think that um there is more good in the world than not, also. And I think that humanity will be much better for having gone through this. And we all had to humble up, and we all had to look inside, and we were all awakened in some way, shape, or form massively from this. Like, wow. And we all had to go through this together. Nobody was spared from this pandemic. This wasn't, sometimes some places in the world go through hardships and some others don't, but we all went through this one. And so we can all sympathize with each other. We can all have more compassion. We can all be kinder to one another, because we all we all went through this. And unfortunately, when the calendar turns over to 2021, this is not going to be over. But we will be much better for everything we went through in 2020. And I just really want to wish all of you strength and success and peace, love, healing, good health, and all the good vibrations for this coming year. I just want to say Happy New Year, and thank you for listening to the Natasha Stewart podcast. Okay, I caved. I put it on YouTube too. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel for the next season. I will have video versions of those. So please subscribe, like this episode, check out the other ones if you haven't seen them yet. And I will be seeing you guys next year.